This is the sector user guide to the application portal for the Voluntary Communities Division in the Department for Communities Northern Ireland. To access the application portal, you can use the URL provided, www.vcsgrants.communities-ni.gov.uk. In this guidance, we will look at creating a new application, an activity for the main contact of your organization, how to submit that application, an activity for your chairperson or the director of a statutory body. And finally, before submission, if the chairperson wishes to return the application for editing to the main contact, that will be the final slide. To start with, the main contact can create a new application. They need to log into the application portal. They can click on the funding programs icon in the top left-hand corner, and this will display funding page. There are buttons here under each division to find out what programs are available for either Community and Power Division or the Voluntary Community Division. Selecting the Voluntary Community Division will show you the list of funding programs available. To select the program you wish to apply to, select the Click here to start application button for that program. The Edit Application screen will then be displayed. On the right-hand side of this screen as the main contact, you can see the activities that need to be completed for this step in the To-Do section. And then there's a Done section, which will display the activities once they're completed. In the To-Do section, to fill out the application form, click the blue arrow button next to the application form label, and the form will be displayed. Your application form will open on the first section, About the Project. We can see that question 1.1, applicant information, will be auto-populated. Question 1.2, please give the title of the project for which you are seeking support. This is a mandatory field, as indicated by the red asterisks on the question. Then we have question 1.3. Please select the local government district and district electoral area where the project will be delivered. This is also a mandatory field. Note please, when selecting the local government district, council area and DEA from the drop-down, you will note that the LGDs are listed in alphabetical order with the corresponding DEAs. Please select the correct DEA for where your organization is located. Moving on to question 1.4, again a mandatory field. Please select the constituency where your project will be delivered. A drop-down menu is provided. Then 1.5, project dates, also mandatory. The project dates are auto-populated and they can be amended. To save the form and remain on the same section, click Save and Draft. To move to the next section, click Save Draft and Continue. To save and exit the form, click Save Draft and Exit. Moving on to section 2, we have a number of free text mandatory fields, an overview of the proposed project, why the project is needed and evidence that would be provided, and then a facility to add additional evidence. Only one file upload question is displayed by default. If more than one file needs to be uploaded, tick the Add Another checkbox and another file upload question will be displayed. Then finally, a final mandatory field to describe the activities that will be provided through this project. Section 3, Required Outcomes. This is a multi-response section where we can add additional outcome tabs as required. Looking at the first tab, 3.1, Outcome 1. In this tab, 3.1.1, required outcomes, multiple outcomes can be added using the Add Outcome button at the bottom. Here is a free text field. It is a mandatory field. Then question 3.2.1 on this outcome, targets and outputs, will be fully explained in the next slide. Remember to click Add Outcome to add additional outcome details or tabs in this subsection. And they can then be accessed by clicking on the tab 3.2 Outcome 2. Click Delete Outcome to remove any outcome that was added by mistake. Looking more closely at Outcome 1, section question 3.1.2, targets and outputs, please fill out the following for each target output. Description, target outputs, proposed activities to achieve the required outcome, target impact, and how will the groups and community benefit. Click on the Save Details button to save the entry. A new blank row will be automatically added. Use the blank row to insert another entry if required, otherwise leave blank. At least one row of entries must be completed. You must save the entry below by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Section 4, Outcome-Based Approach/Monitoring, has 3 mandatory questions. Question 4.1. Please describe how the project will contribute to the funded program's strategic outcomes. Question 4.2. Describe how the proposed project supports the delivery of services in relation to the funding program outcomes. And question 4.3. Please describe what impact the work of the project will have and what are the anticipated outcomes. Section 5. Financial and accountability information. Question 5.1. Is this a collaborative project? This is a mandatory field. If you answer yes, additional questions will be displayed. The collaborative group and/or consortium question. Then how many partners are in your collaborative group and/or consortium? Also section 6, the next section in the form for collaborative and consortium partners is enabled and will be required to be filled out. Question 5.2, have you sought any other funding for this project? If answered yes, see 5.3. 5.3 is about the proposed sources of funding. This question will become enabled for completion. Taking a closer look at question 5.3, proposed sources of funding, please complete the table, giving details of proposed sources of funding for the project. Private sector, other public sector, voluntary groups, own income generated, national lottery or other. Please indicate all funding that has been sought and whether it was granted or rejected, or if awaiting the decision. Please upload documentary evidence of any funding applications or funding decisions relating to this project. Click on the Save Details button to save any line entries. A new blank row will be automatically added. Use the blank row to insert another entry if required, otherwise leave blank. At least one row of entries must be completed. You must save the entry below by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Still in financial and accountability information, question 5.4. If more than one file needs to be uploaded, tick the Add Another checkbox and another file upload question will be displayed. Question 5.5, a mandatory field. Tick the box for all applicable costs, salary costs, running costs, or program costs. Question 5.6, mandatory field. Please describe how you propose to sustain the project after the end of the funding period. There is an option to upload an exit strategy. Section 6, Collaborative and Consortium Partners. If this is a collaborative project, you now need to add partner details. In this example, question 6.2.1, we can see the free text box to add the partner's name and full address. Click the Add a Partner button to add a partner's details. This can be accessed by clicking on the tab. To click Delete Partner to remove a partner if extra one was added by mistake. Now Section 7, Project Costs Contributions, starting with salary costs. Question 7.1. Please give full details of the total salary costs for this project, including items funded by other bodies. Please advise what job roles and the percentage of their time will be involved in the delivery of this project. Collaborative groups or consortiums should list individual salary details for each organisation partner to this application. Click on the Save Details button to save the entry. This will appear on the right-hand side of the screen. A new blank row will be automatically added. Use the blank row to insert another entry, if required, otherwise leave blank. At least one row of entries must be completed. You must save the entry below by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Question 7.1, Salary Costs Continued. On this slide, we can see the right-hand side of the screen with the Save Details button. Please note, if you answer no to the question, is this item part of your application to DFC, you must enter a zero amount under the amount requested for this project for 26-27, as this is a mandatory field. Section 7, Salary Costs Continued. Question 7.2. Again, a mandatory field if you tick salary costs. Job title and job description. Click on the Save Details button to save the entry. A new blank row will be automatically added. Use the blank row to insert another entry if required, otherwise leave blank. At least one entry must be completed. Again, you must save the entry below before clicking on the Save Details button, by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Then question 7.3, complete if applicable. Still in section 7, question 7.4, running costs. Please give full details of the total running costs for this project, including items funded by other bodies. Please list the individual items being applied for example, heat, light, telephone costs, etc., in the description box below. Again, click on the Save Details button to save any line entry. A new blank row will be automatically added. Use the blank row to insert another entry if required, otherwise leave blank. At least one row of entries must be completed. You must save the entry by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Again, please note if you answer no to the question, is this item part of your application to DFC, you must enter a zero amount under the amount requested for this project for 26-27, as this is a mandatory field. Question 7.5 asks if you previously received funding in the year 25-26 for specific running costs which you are no longer applying for, and to please articulate how these costs will be met in 26-27. Then we move to question 7.6, program costs. Please give full details of the total program costs for this project, including items funded by other bodies. Again, click on the Save Details button to save any line entry. A new blank row will be added automatically. Use the blank row to insert another entry if required, or otherwise leave blank. At least one row of entries must be completed. You must save the entry below by clicking on the Save Details button before moving on to the next question. Again, please note, if you answer no to the question, is this item part of your application to DFC? You must enter zero amount under the amount requested for this project for 26-27. This is a mandatory field. Continuing on section 7, we have 2 remaining questions related to program costs. 7.7, to complete if applicable. If you received funding during the 25-26 year for specific program costs which you no longer are applying for, please articulate how these costs will be met in 26-27. And then question 7.8, amount requested from this funding program. This is auto-calculated and cannot be edited. This is the total for all costs entered into the table above, where the question, is this item part of your application to DFC, was answered yes. Moving to section 8, project management and accountability. There is a single question, a mandatory field. Please provide a breakdown of how the project finances will be managed, including accountability and financial controls. In section 9, we look at project target groups. Here we see questions relating to sex, marital status, age groups, ethnicity. All are mandatory questions, followed by religious belief, disability, dependence, sexual orientation, and finally, political opinion and other specific targeted groups. In the final section 10, we can add supporting evidence if required. Question 10.1, please provide any further details you might feel add to your application. And then there's the opportunity to upload additional supporting evidence. Only one file upload question is displayed by default. If more than one file needs to be uploaded, tick the Add Another checkbox and another file upload question is displayed. This is the last section of the form. On completion of the form, Save Draft Continue will save the draft and the Submit Form page will be displayed. You can choose to edit this now as a PDF document before selecting the option. You can print a PDF at any stage of the process if you want to be able to share your draft application. But let's submit that form now. You will see this will return you to the application processing screen. The application form is completed and has moved to the Done section of the Activities panel. So now we can look at next steps. You have one action to select from. Click Send Application to Chairperson to send to the Chairperson for approval. After the main contact sends the application to the Chairperson is notified by email. The Chairperson can log in and under Upcoming Tasks, click on the Submit Application button, which is in their task list. Again, they will see the application processing screen with the Activities panel on the right-hand side. In this case, there are now 2 activities to complete under the To Do section. The first is to review the application form, and the second is to fill out a declaration. To review the application form, click on the blue arrow next to that label. The application form opens at section 1, and the Chairperson can review the application form in full. If necessary, the Chairperson can make any amendments to the application form, or return it, send it back to the main contact to make those amendments. The Chairperson must review each section. To move to the next section, click on the section tabs at the top, or click through the Save Draft and Continue to logically go through the form. On completion of the form review, click Save Draft and Continue or Save Draft and Exit, and the Submit Form page will be displayed. Once the chairperson or the director of a statutory body has reviewed and submitted the application form, the system will bring the user back to the Submit Application screen. In the To Do section, there is one more task to be completed. The chairperson Declaration for Application. Click the blue button next to the task to open the form. Here we can see a single declaration tab. The application information is auto-populated. The question now, question 1.2, do you require the main contact to edit the application before submission? If you select yes, then a list of changes required question is displayed. The data entered here will be sent by email to the main contact as an instruction for the changes to make. Note to make sure you select the option to send application back to main contact under the next steps in the application processing screen to return the application back to the main contact for editing. Once you've submitted your form to the Department for Communities under the Next Steps task, you will not be able to make any further changes to it. If you do not require the main contact to make any changes before submission, you can select No. Then we have questions 1.3, which is the declaration, and 1.4, where you can enter your name as a signature for this application. Once you have clicked Save Draft and Continue, you will see the Submit Form page. This will return you to the application processing screen. And we can see now that both tasks have moved from the To Do section to the Done section. And we have two options in our next steps. This is important to note. If we require the main contact to do more work on the application form, we can choose to send it back to the main contact. If we completed that, if we added that to the form itself, we said, yes, we require the main contact to make some changes, and we have detailed what those are, you must select that option now. The other option is to submit the application to the department. Once the application is submitted to the department, there will not be a chance to make any further changes. So this is a final step. If you choose to return the application to the main contact for additional work, they will get email notification with the note detailing the changes you've requested, and they will get the task in their task list to edit the application. This will then allow them to complete any changes you've requested, resubmit the application for review, and you can complete the review and declaration process again before submitting your application to the department. So that's the end of our application process.